This evening, first up, an inspector arrested, a constable caught selling license, and now a deputy commissioner under investigation. The Guyana police force is turning cameras on itself, and the commissioner is making it clear that no rank is untouchable. Then, 12,000 applications, hundreds of irregularities, and one form promise. Vice President Jagdeo says every legitimate small contractor will get a government contract before the year ends. But first, the chiefs have to be weeded out. Plus, Ozempic is coming to Guyana. A generic version of the world's most talked about drug could be on local shelves within 2 months. The health minister says it will be available by prescription only, and he is already planning to crack down on misuse. Meanwhile, a Hantavirus outbreak in a cruise ship has left 3 dead, and health officials are urging calm across the Caribbean. The good news, the rodents that carry it are not found in the region. Here is what you need to know. And the Dominican Republic is loading buses and sending them across the Haitian border at a staggering rate, up to 10,000 deportees every single week. A mass expulsion that is reshaping an already desperate crisis. Those stories are now coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for May 12, 2026. I'm Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, Vice President Dr. Jagdeo has given a firm assurance that every legitimately pre-qualified small contractor will receive at least one government contract this year, but warned that widespread attempts to game the system are slowing the process down considerably. Speaking to reporters on the sidelines of Monday's public day at the Arthur Chang Conference Center, Jagdeo revealed that nearly 12,000 small contractors submitted pre-qualification documents as part of a government initiative designed to make contract awards more transparent and accessible to small businesses.
We went through a pre-qualification exercise because we wanted to enhance transparency surrounding the award of contracts. We wanted to be, in the past, contracts were awarded to people below 15 million without a tender process, consistent with the law, the Procurement Act, and thousands of Guyanese were helped. Some had complained that they did not know of the process. So the best way of getting everyone to know of the process and be part of it was to go through a pre-qualification exercise. In that pre-qualification exercise, we got nearly 12,000 small contractors who submitted documents for pre-qualification.
However, cleaning up the applicants list has proven to be a significant challenge. The Vice President cited multiple irregularities, including family members registering several companies under different names, something explicitly prohibited under pre-qualification rules, as well as large contractors attempting to slip into the small contractors program to access easier contract awards.
So we've been vetting the list with a lot of difficulties. You have some people who, 4 family members, might have 4 different companies, and we prohibited that in the pre-qualification document. Some others who might have done are big contractors who are trying to get in with the small contractors. So it's been a difficult exercise to clean the list or cleanse the list. Right. We've done so on the ground with technical staff, ministerial involvement, hoping to clean up the list of pre-qualified contractors.
The Vice President pushed back against frustration from contractors who feel overlooked, noting simply that we can't award 10,000 contracts at the same time.
Once you're pre-qualified legitimately, assuming of the 12,000, 11,000 contractors are legitimately pre-qualified, that over the course of the year, we'll try to get at least one contractor each. But everyone wants to go in the first round. And so if they see now that some contracts are being awarded because we have to start at the beginning, they complain they're left out. But we can't award 10,000 contracts at the same time.
Once a verified list is finalized, Dr. Jagdeo said the commitment is clear. Every contractor who legitimately qualifies will get their opportunity before the year is out. In other news, the Ghana Police Force is turning its investigative lens inwards, with the Special Branch Unit intensifying a crackdown on corruption within its own ranks. And the message from the top cop is clear: no officer, regardless of seniority, is above the law. In recent weeks, an inspector was arrested in connection with the discovery of ammunition on Hatfield Street, Ross Georgetown, while a police constable was caught in a carefully coordinated undercover sting, allegedly attempting to sell a driver's license illegally, reportedly demanding $100,000 to facilitate the acquisition of a license without the applicant completing any examinations or driving tests. The crackdown has now reached the highest levels of the force. Commissioner of Police Clifton Haitian has directed the Office of Professional Responsibility to investigate a deputy commissioner after body-worn camera footage allegedly showed him intervening in a lawful anti-crime operation by ordering a corporal on duty to abandon his post and release a female motorist who claimed to be a police officer. This intervention is concerning because it appears to have been made without verification and outside of the chain of command, Commissioner Haitian stated, adding that body camera footage confirmed the junior rank acted lawfully and professionally throughout. Haitian linked the accountability drive to the Ghana Police Force's Strategic Plan 2022 to 2026 and announced the force is moving towards a fully digitalized reporting system within months. With over 5,300 body cameras deployed nationwide, the Commissioner's message is clear. In today's Ghana Police Force, the cameras are watching everyone. Moving on, one of the world's most talked about medication is heading to Guyana, with Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony confirming that a generic version of Ozempic, the blockbuster diabetes and weight loss drug, is expected to be available on the local market within the next few months. Speaking on the Starting Point podcast, Dr. Anthony revealed that a pharmaceutical company manufacturing a generic version of the drug has already submitted an application for registration with the Government Analysis Food and Drug Department. Once regulatory approval is granted, the medication will become legally available in Guyana for the first time. But the minister was equally quick with a caution: this is not a drug to be taken casually or without medical guidance. You must get a prescription. Somebody has to supervise your care, Dr. Anthony stressed, warning that misuse of the medication can lead to serious health complications.
Ozempic and this line of medicines that have now become available, they have been helpful to a lot of patients, but it requires proper medical use, and it must be under medical supervision, because without that, then people can misuse it and it can become a problem for them.
Dr. Anthony said authorities will implement surveillance mechanisms once the drug enters the local market to monitor whether it is being used appropriately and to take action where it is not.
So one of the things with the regulatory oversight, once you bring a product onto the market, you have to also do surveillance to see how the product is being used. And that surveillance would tell you whether it's used appropriately or inappropriately. And if it's being used inappropriately, then relevant actions will have to be taken. Okay. So we'll be doing that monitoring as well.
Ozempic and similar versions have surged in global popularity in recent years. Originally developed to manage type 2 diabetes, but now widely adopted for weight loss. Their high demand has also fueled a black market, with unregulated versions circulating in many countries. Stick around when we return. Caribbean Public Health Agency urges calm as Hantavirus outbreak linked to cruise ship. And Republic Bank launches low-rate mortgage transfer plan to attract homeowners across Guyana.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Health officials across the Caribbean are urging people not to panic after a hantavirus outbreak linked to an international cruise ship left 3 people dead, saying the risk to the region remains extremely low. The Caribbean Public Health Agency said the virus was detected among passengers aboard the Dutch cruise vessel MV Honduras, which traveled through South America. So far, 9 cases, including suspected infections, have been identified. The Caribbean Public Health Agency explained that hantavirus is mainly spread by rodents through their urine, droppings, or saliva, and unlike COVID-19, it does not spread easily from person to person. Officials said the strain involved in the outbreak, known as the Andes virus, is rare because it can spread between humans only in limited cases through very close and prolonged contact. The agency stressed that the type of rodents linked to the virus is not found in the Caribbean, meaning there is currently no local source of transmission in the region. International health authorities are continuing to monitor passengers and crew members on the cruise ship, while the Caribbean Public Health Agency said its surveillance systems are actively monitoring for possible cases. The agency is advising the public to continue practicing good hygiene, wash hands regularly, avoid close contact with sick persons, and take precautions in areas where rodents may be present. On a different note, Republic Bank Guyana Limited has launched an aggressive new mortgage initiative that could save homeowners significant money, inviting customers at other banks to transfer their existing residential mortgages and take advantage of some of the most competitive interest rates currently available in Guyana. The new offering, called the Republic Mortgage Move, targets customers with existing residential mortgages between 20 million and 40 million Ghana dollars at other financial institutions, offering them the opportunity to switch to Republic Bank at a reduced rate of 4.7%, along with access to additional financing for home improvements, expansions, or other needs. The full rate structure is tiered to benefit borrowers across all income levels. Loans of up to $9 million are offered at just 3.5%, while amounts between $9 million and $20 million are offered at 4.25%. Loans between $20 million and $40 million carry a 4.7% rate, and amongst those up to $60 million carry a 5% rate, consistent with the bank's headline announcement from February 2026. Notably, Republic Bank has removed its lending ceiling entirely for residential mortgages, meaning there is no upper limit on how much a customer can borrow, giving greater flexibility to high-income earners and those with larger housing ambitions. Additional benefits include up to 100% financing, zero negotiation and attorney fees, extended repayment terms, monthly amortized payments, and fully online application and document submission process. The announcement signaled Republic Bank's clear intent to position itself as Ghana's mortgage lender of choice as the country's housing sector continues to expand rapidly. Don't go away after the break. Italian farmers struggle as Middle East war drives up fuel and fertilizer costs, and Macron seeks new partnership with Africa during Kenya summit.
money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening. Tonight, Venezuela flatly rejects ICJ authority over the resource-rich Essequibo. The Dominican Republic ramps up mass deportations into Haiti. Middle East conflict pushes fuel and fertilizer costs higher for European farmers, and Macron and Ruto host a landmark Africa-France summit in Nairobi. We will begin at the ICJ. Venezuela has firmly rejected the International Court of Justice jurisdiction to resolve its long-standing border dispute with Guyana over the resource-rich Essequibo region. Acting President Delcy Rodriguez declared Venezuela would never recognize any ICJ ruling, insisting the 1966 Geneva Agreement requires direct negotiation. Guyana brought the case before the court in 2018, seeking validation of the 1899 arbitral award establishing the two countries' boundary. The Dominican Republic is intensifying deportations. It is sending thousands of migrants back across the border into Haiti. Authorities say they plan to expel up to 10,000 people each week. Al Jazeera Teresabo reports.
Many of these people fled gang violence in Port-au-Prince and other parts of Haiti. But now busloads of men, women and children are being dropped at the border as the Dominican Republic intensifies deportations. Lovely Jean is among them with her 3 children. She has been living in the Dominican Republic for 4 years.
I went to the Dominican Republic to escape the violence. Gangs control everything. Immigration came into my house and deported me with only the clothes on my back.
Immigration authorities say they have deported more than 120,000 people so far this year, most of them from Haiti. Lugna Rafael has been living in the Dominican Republic for 13 years. He says immigration authorities beat him while he was in detention.
They came at 3 o'clock in the morning. They broke down the door and took me. They beat me a lot and they broke my head. They took everything I had, even my shoes.
Kelange Decimos works at the border, assisting deportees with shelter and protection.
Sometimes we receive 200 people, others 400 or 500. On the weekends, it's more. The way they deport them is inhumane. Some are injured, some have their clothes torn barefoot or broken legs.
Dominican President Luis Abinader has made mass deportations of undocumented Haitian migrants a central pillar of his immigration policy. His government is also building a wall along the border with Haiti.
We keep on building with what our budget allows us. It's an objective that is a priority and national security strategy.
It's a strategy pushing thousands of people back to a country in crisis. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera.
Europe's farming sector is feeling the growing impact of conflict in the Middle East as fuel and fertilizer prices continue to rise. Al Jazeera's Perry Wilton reports.
They say you should make hay while the sun shines. But the clouds of war in the Middle East are casting a long shadow over Europe's farming sector. In Italy, agriculture runs on diesel. As fuel costs rise, farmers like Enzo Gabalia are struggling to get their produce to market.
While COVID brought everything to a standstill, the wars are driving up the costs. It all comes back to bite us in some way. We always try to keep prices under control. We don't raise them excessively because if the customer buys, we work. When the customer can't make ends meet, we don't work, and the produce has to be thrown away.
His family has been growing potatoes, peppers, courgettes and lettuce for more than a century, feeding generations of countless families with vegetables from their fields. But he says since the war, it's been hard not to pass on increasing costs onto the capital.
There was a major increase in prices. We are mostly suffering the increase of diesel. That went out of control. Its price doubled. Fertilizers. The climate is not helping us because, as you can see, it's a disaster. One day it's too cold, the other day it's too hot, which means we have to intervene more often with products that are expensive.
Failure to reach a deal between the US and Iran has indefinitely extended the chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz. 20% of the world's oil and natural gas normally passes through the strait, as did about half the global supply of the key fertilizer ingredient, urea. But the limits to their supply has since caused the cost of fuel and fertilizer in Europe to skyrocket. In the packing houses of Italy, workers are concerned it could lead to a cost of living crisis.
Increasing costs are affecting the savings and wages of households, and families are not in a very good shape already, so the demand goes down. This means uncertainty and great logistical issues for us. We don't know how much product to buy because the situation is so uncertain.
And it's not just farmers raising the alarm. Markets that sell their produce fear the whole industry is at risk.
If it will continue and the Strait of Hormuz remains closed for 3 more months, we will risk repeating what happened when the war in Ukraine caused energy prices to spike. At that stage, the problem will not only be fuel for trucks, but the cost of energy in general to refrigerate goods. Our sector needs a lot of energy.
In a few weeks, it will be time to harvest. But even farmers as experienced as Gabalia can only guess what prices the war a continent away will inflict on their livelihood. Perry Wilton, Al Jazeera.
French President Emmanuel Macron and Kenyan President William Ruto are hosting a major African-France summit in Nairobi aimed at reshaping relations between France and the African continent. Al Jazeera's Malcolm Webb reports.
Emmanuel Macron was the first French president to visit Kenya. This is his second trip. Kenya's President William Ruto and Macron are hosting African leaders for a 2-day summit. It's the first time France has organised such a gathering in an English-speaking country.
This is a continent that I no longer want France to view as its own private domain, where business leaders have all the rights to have all the contracts guaranteed to them simply because it was Francophone Africa, or where some people felt that France provided a form of guaranteed security by being there to make or break governments. That is over.
Since 2020, military governments in Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso, all former French colonies, have expelled French forces. It followed years of growing discontent with France amid growing Russian influence. All 3 governments have since turned to Russia for military support. At the start of last year, President Macron said the leaders of the Sahel countries forgot to say thank you when the French military departed. Now, the messaging has changed. This giant poster speaks of a renewed partnership with Africa, and the leaders say that the summit will focus on trade and investment between equal partners. French investment in Kenya has been growing for years. Macron said about $27 billion of investments in Africa have been announced at the summit, including more than $1 billion in Kenya. The 2 governments signed a military agreement last month as 800 French soldiers arrived at the port of Mombasa. Ruto's opponents and critics say it's a familiar story of neocolonialism.
My good friend and brother.
In a rapidly changing geopolitical landscape, President Ruto, who's walked red carpets with Joe Biden and Xi Jinping since taking office 4 years ago, is embracing more alliances.
We do not want to be held hostage anymore by the Strait of Hormuz. We do not want to be held hostage by wars that are started by other people. We have our own resources here, and we are saying we are going to use our African resources to industrialize our region.
As French interests in Africa move east, Kenyans and the French government will find out if the new messaging will deliver the promised benefit. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, Nairobi.
Thanks, Dominic. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3D weather forecast. And that's it to the headline news for this Tuesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.